On today's show, no Fred VanVleet, no Tari, Eason, no problem as the Houston Rockets get back on track with a win against the James Harden-less LA Clippers. Jalen Green, Amen Thompson, and Alperen Sengun running the offense. The Stay Ready crew stepping up in a big way. It's all coming up on today's Locked On Rockets.
This is Mission Control, Houston.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up and welcome to another edition of Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. As always, I'm your host, Jackson Gatlin, native Houstonian and credentialed media member. I'm also the host of Locked On NBA Thursdays. Be sure to follow along wherever you listen to your podcasts or on YouTube. Just search Locked On Rockets, where the best way you can help us grow our show is to listen every single day on a podcast platform you're choosing. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Drop us a comment while you're there. Tell me your favorite moment from this Rockets win against the Clippers, or just do a drive-by, say go Rockets. It helps us out a ton. Also, subscribe to the daily Locked On Rockets newsletter. Would sincerely appreciate that. Now, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And as always, thank you so much for making Locked On Rockets part of your day every single day, whether it's on your way to work, on your lunch break, in the gym. Thank you so much for being an everydayer. Joining us now is your weekly co-host, NBA draft enthusiast, and diehard Houston Rockets fan, Madison Moore. You can track down on Twitter at MadmanLeaks. Here to discuss the Houston Rockets' 117-106 win against the LA Clippers. They got things back on track, and you guys already know what that means.
Release the hounds.
Go let our friends over at Locked On Clippers know that Locked On Rockets sent you over there. Madison, it's exciting to be able to talk about a Rockets basketball win after a couple losses. They got back on track in this game, man.
Yeah, man, good win for the Rockets. I mean, we played the shorthanded Clippers, but we were shorthanded as well. And the Rockets handled business. I think the guys came out with, Emmett was talking about how we were being a little bit soft, but I think they came out ready to go, ready to get in and active, scrap it up defensively. And our guys, without our, steady hand for VanVleet, without our leader, the guys got in and ran the offense as a collective, and we played very well. It was a good peek into the future because Fred won't always be there to save these Rockets and settle them down. So it was good to see them get the win, together as a collective.
Absolutely. Look, they got back to playing Rockets basketball, and again, they didn't do it at full strength, right? So no Fred VanVleet. He was sitting out with the knee contusion that he suffered against the Sacramento Kings. Still no Tari Eason. He was in concussion protocol. And then the Clippers also were not at full strength. They had no James Harden. They didn't have Amir Coffey, who injured himself apparently during pregame warmups. And then they lost Derrick Jones Jr. after he played like 12 minutes in this game, and then he didn't come back. So Clippers all banged up and down the roster. They also didn't have Terrence Mann available. So two teams missing a lot of their key contributors, but doesn't matter. Rockets still got the win, and that's where we're going to start talking about this game first and foremost. Is this was kind of a sketchy game, right? With no Fred VanVleet. This is a Rockets team that has kind of lived and died based on how well Fred has played pretty much over the entire course that Fred has been a Rocket, right? Like, we've seen the on-off numbers. We've seen this team when Fred goes to the bench, and sometimes the offense like completely stalls out and they can't manufacture any points. And yet in this game, They had some turnovers. They had a bit of an ugly, kind of rough first half, and then that little stint there at the top of the third quarter. Ime calls that top of the third quarter timeout. It was like 2 minutes in, and the Rockets had 4 turnovers in under 2 minutes at the top of the third quarter. Ime called a timeout. They didn't turn the ball over for the rest of the game after that timeout. So he reinforced, he doubled down. He said, no, we got to clean this up. But they were able to, I won't go so far to say thrive without Fred on the court, but they made it work without Fred out there. And it took a collect, right? It was a little bit of Jalen running the show. Amen Thompson was running the show. Alp was running the show. They did it collectively.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I felt like the team knew what it wanted to do, and it got in and out of its sets pretty well. And I thought a lot of the turnovers were really caused by, and the Clippers have of late been a very, very effective and very good defensive team. And you could see how active their hands were, especially on the backside help. I think they really surprised the Rockets with their backside help, poking the ball behind away from the Rockets players. It happened to Sengun a bunch of times. It happened to it happened to all of our guys. But once they got that figured out, that's how they're getting their turnovers. I thought the Rockets played with a sense of purpose. They knew what they wanted to get in and out of their sets. They trusted one another. They moved the ball well, and more importantly, they shot it pretty good from the field, if you ask me. I mean, especially for a team that could really struggle to score. We generated good shots. I thought our process was good, and when we took care of the ball, we played well. And so that was really encouraging to see with Fred off the floor. I thought that collective of Jalen, Amen running the offense, and Sengun really running the offense in those second quarters, those backup units when Jalen and Amen were off the floor. I thought it worked for the Rockets, and it was a kind of a peer into the future of what we can begin to see when Fred isn't on the team.
Yeah, the Rockets as a team in this one of their better shooting performances of the season, easily. They shot 15 of 41 from downtown, 36.6% compared to the Clippers, who were only 11 of 34 from downtown, 32.4% there. And look, you look at the assist numbers, and they don't jump off the page at you, right? Like, Jalen only had 1 assist. Amen Thompson only had 4 assists. Sengun had 6 assists. But the thing is first off, Jalen and Amen, I thought both did great jobs driving, getting downhill, trying to collapse the defense, right? And then making that kick out pass and then getting the defense in rotation. It's not always going to be the guy who collapses the defense or who initiates the action is going to walk away with the assist. And there were even possessions where, like, Jalen would initiate the offense, right? Get downhill, collapse, and then relocate, and then the ball would find him again for a three-pointer. And that's good process. That's good high quality offense. And so that's how those two guys did it. And for Sengun, you might look at this game and think, oh, well, Sengun had a really off night, quiet game, 11 points, 4 of 9 shooting. The reason Sengun was 4 of 9, the reason only had 9 shot attempts was because the Clippers defense was so tilted towards shutting him down every time he got the basketball. First and foremost, what's his name? Nicholas Batum had 2 hands on Sengun like the entire game. When you have a small checking a big, you get away with so much more stuff. Trust the Rockets benefit from this. When they have like Dillon Brooks guarding bigs, when they put Dillon Brooks on like Wemby, you use that leverage, and those smaller guys are able to be a little bit more physical with the bigs. So Sengun needs to find a way to be able to power through some of that at times, but some of that, some of his lack of opportunities, I guess, in this game came from Rockets not being able to get him the entry passes at times, that kind of stuff. But when he did get the ball, he did a really great job of recognizing, okay, the defense is tilted towards me. There's a second man here in the dunker spot, whatever. Let me kick the pass out, or let me make 1 or 2 moves and then find the next guy. And that's what led to some really high quality offense in those second unit groups.
Yeah, we like to see Sengun get going a little bit easier. I mean, a little bit more. I thought, once again, Sengun missed a couple bunnies. I thought he also got set up a couple times by Jalen and got fouled and couldn't finish at the rim, when typically a guy of his stature and touch should be able to finish at the rim. And that kind of kept him from getting going offensively. Typically, I think Fred does a good job of finding some really easy looks and gets him confident and gets his touch really going around the rim. And I think we just didn't get enough of those opportunities, but those opportunities were there. And because the defense was so shifted and geared towards taking Sengun away, especially in the short roll, like there were so many times where they were overloading on that short roll, which honestly gave Jalen a lot of those driving lanes he got to get downhill and kick out to other shooters. So it's just a give and take there. Jalen has to continue to punish those teams for taking that away from Sengun, and so that will be available later in the game, and Sengun can get some easy looks. But I think all in all, the team played well together as a collective, and we just got to give Amen also his flowers for initiating the offense and really playing within his role in doing that.
Oh, don't you worry. We are going to talk all things Amen Thompson here in just a second, because Amen Thompson put Kevin Porter Jr. in the penitentiary in this game. Oh, man, we got to talk about that. We got to talk about Jalen Green with some insane shot making in this one, and so many other things to get to. Going to get into a little bit of the game flow, all that good stuff. We're going to get there in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by Mint Mobile. Look, with the big wireless providers, what you see is never really what you get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically skyrockets. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about gotchas ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they absolutely mean it. Say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, jaw-dropping monthly bills, and unexpected overages. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. That's it, $15 a month. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all your existing contacts. Ditch the overpriced wireless with Mint Mobile's deal and get 3 months off of premium wireless service for $15 a month. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. That's mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. On NBA. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speeds slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details. And continuing on here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. All right, now, Madison, I mentioned it at the top, right? This Rockets team got back to playing their brand of Rockets basketball in this game, right? Ime called them out for playing soft after last game. This game going in, pre-game, he was talking about, they didn't have the right physicality, right? They're a team that relies on their physicality, their strength, all the things that they lean on or have leaned on throughout this season. And it felt like they got back to their roots a little bit in this one. Case in point, they absolutely crushed the Clippers on the glass in this game. 50 rebounds to just 33 rebounds for LA. And then in the second chance points department, the Rockets were plus 15 in second chance points, 21-6. And that was with no Tari Eason in the lineup, right? Yeah. So, the Rockets did a great job of, even though they had a decent shooting night, right? They did a great job of getting back to what has led to their success so far this season, which is crashing the offensive glass, getting those second, third chance opportunities. I don't know how many, there was one possession, right, where I want to say the Rockets had 2 or 3 different looks at it before, I think Aaron Holiday finally canned a 3 on the third or fourth look at one single possession. Yeah. And it's that's Rockets basketball right there, right? That's outworking the other guys. That's crashing the offensive glass. That's out hustling guys. And it's an exhausting style of play, but it's also one that's really hard to counter because you're just flat out outworking your opponent.
Yeah, my favorite one, and there was a ton of possessions like that. I mean, from Steven Adams, from Alperen Sengun. I mean, guys really just beating up the Clippers on the boards. And my favorite one was the third offensive rebound in that possession, or the second offensive rebound, the third possession. Opportunity the Rockets had to score, where Sengun gets this rebound and finds a streaking Jalen cutting through the lane for a monster dunk, man. One of the things that we love to see from
on his head top, on his nuggets. That's a caution.
Yeah, man, it was a great play, and I think that was that's how the Rockets wins games, man. We out hustle you, we outwork you. That is getting back to our Rocket style of our grit and ground Rocket style of basketball, and we want to give our guys credit for doing that. But I'd like to talk a little bit about Jalen, who had a really good solid night.
Wait, can I give one more rebounding prop out here?
Go ahead.
Jabari, it wasn't an offensive rebound, but Jabari had a defensive rebound, a box out on Ivica Zubac, dude. Zubac is a big boy. He's a big dude. And Jabari had the inside positioning. He got the rebound, and Zubac was behind him, and he muscled the ball away from him. And I was like, that is a grown man rebound, Jabari. When he rebounds like this, when Jabari goes out there and gets a double-double, which he had in this game, 13 points, 13 rebounds, that's always a good sign for the Rockets. When they have that version of Jabari defending and rebounding at that level and knocking down some shots on top of that, 4 of 9, a little bit quiet at night, but 2 of 5 from distance, so 40%, we like that. Just a strong performance from him. I wanted to give him some props for that. But let's take the lead, man. Let's get into Jalen Green here.
It was well point, because I felt like that rebound was in the fourth, and it was one that was after a turnover, and we really needed that board. and I thought Zubac was kind of pouring it in on us on the fourth. But getting back to Jalen, man, I thought had a really good game, and I thought his process was really good. I thought he got in and out of the offense. He still needs to work on taking care of the ball, but I thought some of his turnovers weren't his fault. He had a turnover that was to Steven Adams, who just wasn't looking for the pass, and it kind of sailed out of bounds. But
can we disagree on this one here?
Oh yeah, I mean, of course. I mean, I thought the defensive player made an incredible play on the ball, but if you're the roller, you got to be. In my mind, if you're the roller,
that part's a little bit fair. But all I was going to say is I think the process got a lot better after the first quarter, just because there were a few turnovers in the first quarter where it was just like he had the one where he pulled up and he got blocked on one of the threes. He had the one where he pulled up for a 3 and he was midair. He wanted to take the 3, but the defender made a great recovery. Yeah, so then then that one, like, I don't think that's Adams' fault for Jalen elevating, like thinking he had a shot. We can agree to disagree on that one. And there were a couple moments in that first quarter I was thinking like, oh, I'm so glad the shot's going in because so much of this doesn't look good. But then once he got flowing a little bit, right? He had the good start. He saw some shots go in. I think he really started to get comfortable as the game went along, and that's when we started seeing him do stuff like splitting defenders and getting to the rim, and that's when I really feel like he took off after that first quarter.
Yeah, man. I thought he had some really rough plays in the first quarter, but he had some really good plays too. There was a play where he got downhill and kind of decelerated and accelerated again towards the rim and found Jayshawn Tate in the corner for a wide open three. He didn't make it, but that was just like excellent stuff that we've been looking for from Jalen. Like his ability to decelerate when going to the rim, so that when guys he's had trouble reading the low man, and so when the low man is you converging on Jalen, him being able to find shooters in a process way where that also shifts the defense. And I thought he showed some signs of life tonight. And like I said, this is a very good defensive team. I mean, this is one of the better defensive teams in the past 10 games. So it was really good to see him have some moments like that. And of course, the incredible shot making, especially down the stretch. It felt like when the Rockets really needed a bucket, Jalen found himself getting to the line or making a timely
that one three-pointer when the Rockets they had the ball out of bounds with like 4.5 on the clock. You saw Ime, the camera panned over to him really quick, and he was like 4 seconds, like four, and he was like telling Jalen, "You got 4 seconds." I knew the moment the ball got inbounded, like as long as they didn't turn it over on the inbounds, I was like, this is a patented, like, Jalen's going to make this shot, because he always makes these, like, the toughest shot of the night, and he made it like it was nothing, right? He's walking back, smile on his face.
That's what it is. Like, that is, what we hope Jalen can be for this team. I mean, we have such an electric defensive team, such a great steadying force. Sometimes we just need incredible shot making to get us through the tough times, and we know Jalen can provide that. He just has to do it more consistently.
Absolutely. And this, again, strong performance from him. 31 points, 9 of 20 shooting, 5 of 13 from downtown, and went to the free throw line 8 times, sank all 8 of them. The box score doesn't do it justice. Again, you only see 1 assist there, but again, he initiated so much of the Rockets offense in this game, getting the Clippers in rotation. So a lot of the shots that were created by his initial actions, he didn't get the assist for it, but he gets credit for kind of starting the flow of the offense. We got to talk about Amen Thompson too here, man. First off, Amen Thompson versus KPJ, he put KPJ in the rim on one of his drives. That was insane. He just went, I don't know if I can't remember if he got the rebound on that play, but he pretty much went coast to coast, had KPJ riding him most of the way, and then just went up, elevated off one leg, didn't gather it on 2 feet or anything, and just climbed KPJ up to the rim and dunked on him. It was, and then 1 or 2 possessions later, he was guarding KPJ. KPJ was trying to get his get back for a minute, and then airballed a shot with Amen all over him. Amen couldn't do anything against KPJ in this game. Or sorry, man. KPJ couldn't do anything against Amen. Let me flip that back for a second.
Yeah, no, I thought Amen had the quietest. We were kind of talking about this off camera, but the quietest 22 I've ever seen. But this guy, but this is what Amen is. He's just this Swiss Army knife that really gives your team everything it needs with it. He just finds ways to impact the game. And more importantly, one of the things that I've noticed from Amen is sometimes he could kind of force the issue trying to initiate the offense and get himself in trouble getting downhill sometimes, and not being more patient and really looking to set up his teams, but to really just use his incredible athleticism to finish at the rim. But guys know that he's going to do that, so they've kind of got him out of sorts in that way. He wasn't, sometimes he could find himself just trying to be more aggressive getting down to the rim, but it ended up working against him. But I loved this is how you have to play him in this game, where everything floats so naturally for him. I thought he played within the offense. He moved the ball well. He focused on getting his teammates involved. He had some incredible kick out passes in the first half. One to Jalen that was for one of his big threes that actually got Jalen going. But that is the type of, if you want to be a point guard in this league, if you want those type of minutes, you have to be focused on getting guys involved. And we know what a incredible processor of the game than Amen is, and the types of acrobatic passes that he can make, the way he sees the floor is very unique. And so I've been seeing just possessions where Amen has kind of forced the issue a little bit too much and gotten too big for himself. But it was so incredibly encouraging to see that didn't happen at all this game. I thought Amen was played in control. He set the guys up. He played through the hot hand, and he still found a way to screen and roll, to cut in the backside, to get offensive rebounds, to make a defensive impact. Just absolute Swiss Army knife, man. We got a real star in the making in Amen as just this ultra gadget player that's going to be able to give the Rockets so many different tools and weapons.
Hey, and look, he hit another spot up 3-pointer, so 1 of 3. He also hit a step back midi. Mm-hmm. A step back midi, Madison.
It was a good one.
Oh my
too.
God. If he doesn't even need a 3-ball. Just give me a consistent step back midi. He's going to be the best player in the NBA one day. I'm calling it right now. Just give me that. And that's all I need. Look, and he's low key like top 3 most funny, one of the funniest guys on the team, because post game Vanessa asked him about she was like, I saw you hit that step back midi. Are we gonna see more of that? He was like, oh, you saw you, and he looks at the camera, he goes, y'all saw that? Y'all gonna see more of that. Like he's got some like charisma and everything. Look, Amen was fantastic in this game, did a great job stepping in and filling in for Fred VanVleet. We talked about kind of the Rockets offense doing it by committee there in segment 1, but that was a really big, important part of this game, is him kind of finding his pace, figuring out how to be effective. And one of the things that I thought for the longest time was, for Amen to really be effective, right? You give him the Russell Westbrook treatment, give him 5-out spacing, and just let him get down, or the Giannis treatment, right? Give him 5-out spacing, let him get downhill, attack. Ime actually brought up a point post game that one thing that they've really been intentional about doing, right, is having Amen out there with another big, because then it prevents the opposing team from putting their big on Amen Thompson. Because otherwise, if you park a big on Amen, that's been kind of the way to neutralize, those non-shooting electric guards who want to get to the rim, or wings, whatever, that can't shoot from the perimeter. And so in this game, I thought that was kind of a nice little chess match from Ime to make sure, hey, okay, as long as we have one of, Alp or Steven Adams out there, then they can't put their big, they can't put Zubac on Amen to neutralize his driving or to neutralize his ability to get downhill. So that's just one of those little kind of game within the game things that you pay attention to, and it was cool to see Ime kind of highlight that after the fact. But coming up, we got to give some props to the Stay Ready crew, Aaron Holiday and Jay Sean Tate, carrying the torch for the Rockets in this game. We're going to get there, plus final thoughts from this one in just one moment. First, today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, all in one spot. So if you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the exact same page where you actually place your bets. Just go to FanDuel.com to join today. And while you're there, take a look at all the different odds available. Check out their parlay builder, check out the different season awards winners, conference winners, playoff odds, or just the outright favorites to win the Super Bowl this season. Right now, the Lions plus 270, the Chiefs and the Eagles both sitting at plus 500, the Bills plus 650, and the Ravens distant 5th place at plus 1,000. So for all those odds and so much more, head on over to FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And final segment here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast, home for everything Houston Rockets basketball. Now, we did mention the turnovers earlier there a minute ago, and I do think that was a great way for the Rockets to kind of adjust at the top of the third quarter. Ime called that early timeout. He was basically like, no, we gotta dead this right now, or it's gonna be rough. We're basically spotting him free points, right? The other little like run that I thought was really significant in this game, the Rockets have been kind of trash this season about closing halves well, and they closed out this half on like a 12-0 run, or I think it was a 12-2 run, right? Because Zubac had that little like tip in at the very, very end. But their ability to go on that big run was really the difference maker in this game, because they actually played the Clippers basically dead even the rest of the game. They outscored them 30-28 in the first quarter. It was 34-24 in the second quarter, and again, they had that big 12-0 run to end the quarter. Then 31-31 in the third, and then 22-23 in the fourth. So it was really that second quarter was kind of what won them the game ultimately.
Yeah, and that second quarter, I felt like that run was highlighted by Steven Adams and Jayshawn Tate coming in, giving some really good minutes that I felt like was a lineup that I was really worried about. I mean, the shooting profile of a Steven Adams, Jayshawn Tate, and Amen Thompson lineup, it gets a little rough, man.
You talking about a 5 out spacing lineup? That was a 5 crowded lineup.
In.
I don't know, yeah, 4 in, whatever you want to call it, man. I was looking at that lineup thinking, oh man, Ime's playing with fire here, and they made it work.
They did. They made it work, man. I feel like they were really active defensively. They got out in transition. I thought Jayshawn Tate was amazing defensively for the Crew. I thought he moved the ball well, and I thought he set good screens. And it's a thing that outside of Steven Adams, I don't think this team has done a good job of setting really good, effective screens. I think Alp always does a good job, but he could also stand to be better. But I thought Jayshawn at the top of the break setting screens for Jalen and dribble handoffs was very effective. And he was just in the right place at the right time. His energy was infectious. And man, we got some of that, that terror juice we were missing from Tari from Jayshawn tonight.
Look, I got to give credit because I went on Twitter and I said Jayshawn Tate is the substitute terror twin, and then we got a bunch of suggestions on top of that. We had one person say he was the chaos cousin, and then the one that took the cake for me. Shout out to Alex Wilder. I don't know if you're an everyday or Alex, if you're listening here, shout out to you because Alex came in and said, nah, Unc started it. He's the terror teacher. That was too good. He's been here so, what's so funny though is Jayshawn Tate is older than Dillon Brooks. So when you start calling Jayshawn Tate Unc, it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here? Like he's not that old, guys. Come on. It was awesome. I mean, look, he filled up the stat sheet kind of like what you expect one of those like off the bench hustle kind of game changer guys to do. He had 6 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal. He had a little bit of one of those like vintage Jayshawn Tate stretches where he picked up like 2 or 3 fouls in like under a minute. And that was a little brutal to see. And you're like, all right, here we go. Yeah. But aside from that, I mean, he brought the energy. And then we can't talk about the Stay Ready Crew without talking about Aaron Holiday, right? Aaron Holiday, Look, I've been beating this drum for a minute now. But Aaron Holiday is definitely a rotation player in the NBA. He, is a consummate professional, right? He's okay with his role in this team. But if the Rockets really wanted to get like serious about winning games or like or expanding their margin for error, I will say, they would cut the Reed minutes and send him down to the RGV Vipers or whatever, and they'd be playing Aaron Holiday. And this case in point is why, right? He had 11 points, 3 of 6 shooting. He was 2 of 2 at the free throw line. He had 1 rebound, 3 assists. He had a couple turnovers in there, but so did the whole team. It was kind of a team-wide, issue for the most part. But he gave you such productive minutes off the bench, and he is so much more sure of himself and like where his shots are going to come from, when to pull the trigger. And you're starting to see that more with Reed. He's getting more aggressive, but he's still a rookie, right? He's still figuring those things out. And I think it's just a difficult kind of balancing act for Ime Udoka and the Rockets. Okay, we want to develop Reed, but we also really want to win games. And that's why I think you've seen some of those games where, okay, Reed plays in the first half and then Ime goes to Aaron Holiday in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because you just see the duality of a rookie in Reed and the steadiness of a vet in oh my God, Holiday, right? So to me, Holiday's so in control when he takes his open threes. They just seem his mechanics aren't changed. They don't feel rushed, and you just see how effective he is as a steadying presence. And Reed just to me has the rookie jitters, man. He's out there. He's trying to make plays. He's moving a little too fast, you know what I mean? And he just hasn't found that calm in his game just yet, which will come. And when that comes, Reed is going to be a really amazing player for the Rockets. And that's why we're giving him the minutes so he can get comfortable, so he can find the calm in his game. But that calm is definitely there for Holiday, who hit some big threes, especially off of offensive rebounds from Sengun and other guys kicking it out to him, hit some timely threes, and another effective guy. We are a team that struggles to shoot from 3, but that is not Holiday's problem. So it's really good to have him out there, and another just excellent game for him. And guys better watch out, man. I mean, he's gonna be challenging for minutes when it gets winning time. And this bracket is already stacked very tightly. If it gets any tighter, I could see MA electing to go with these vet steady hand of Holiday.
Look, I don't know how we got all the way into 20 some odd minutes into this show. I think we've only mentioned his name a couple times in passing, and he's not part of the Stay Ready Crew. But Dillon Brooks in this game, man, like He has this ability, like I've said it before, I'll say it again. Dillon Brooks is just a hooper. He can go out there and play, and he can play however you need him to play. If he's going to be a strictly spot up 3-and-D guy, if he's going to go out there and get to his mid-range a little bit, if he wants to post up a smaller defender, he can just go out there and play. In this game, he was the third leading scorer on the team. Finished with 19 points, 7 of 15 shooting. He was 4 of 8 from downtown, had 7 rebounds, had 5 assists. I think he was a team high Alpy had 6 assists. So he was second highest on the team in assist numbers. He had a steal, he had a couple blocks in there. He was talking trash. He was talking trash to KPJ throughout the game. And then he was barking over at the Clippers bench that one possession where they put Zubac on him, and he was like, "Nah, man, I'm not the one. You don't put Zubac on me because I will cook him," just like he did when they put who was it a couple games ago? Donovan Clingan against the Blazers. A couple weeks back when Chauncey Billups put Donovan Clingan on DB for whatever reason, and DB hit back-to-back he hit a step-back 3 and then another 3 right in Clingan's face. Like, Dillon Brooks is that guy, and he can step up and help you in a game just like this one. Again, this is the Rockets team, right? They do things by committee, and everybody stepped up a little bit. You had 6 guys scoring double figures, all 5 starters, and then 11 points for Aaron Holiday off the bench. It was just a really good all-around team win, and a great way for this team to kind of get back on track and kind of get the bad taste out of their mouths after the Kings and the Warriors losses on this West Coast road trip.
Yeah, man. I just a wonderful game for the Rockets. Love how they shared the ball for one another, played within one another, and really moved the ball very effectively, especially for Fred being out. I think that is one of the biggest keys for me is this offense. This offense can really get drugged down, and we can go through periods where it's really tough for us to score. And I think as long as this team is moving the ball by committee, then we'll be all right offensively. And I felt like the Rockets did that today. I felt like the team played for one another today, and it resulted in a win. And like you said, shout out Dillon Brooks, man. Dillon Brooks is having one of the most underrated seasons of his career this year. He's shooting the ball lights out from 3. I mean, he's almost automatic, and he gets the shots that we need. I don't know why they keep leaving him open, because he's been so effective from 3. And then he'll go get you a timely bucket when the offense breaks down, man. So shout out to Dillon Brooks. I want to give him his flowers. Still working as this strength-based defender. He got cooked by KPJ, though, on that drive to the rim. But still, one of the most effective offensive players. And shout out to him, man, because, I mean, I just feel like it's a full 360 for the way his career is going, man. That guy is really one of our best players, and I'm so happy to have him on the team.
Hey, man, look, he was made out to be the scapegoat in Memphis, and I never got behind that. And from everything that I heard from behind the scenes and, people that I've spoken to, over in Memphis and then also here in Houston about how that whole situation went down, he got the short end of the stick, and he was made out to be, the bad guy and all that. Oh, it's all, whatever. He is a winning basketball player, and the Rockets are a better team for having him here, having him in the locker room. And I've said this before on the show, he's just a flat out good dude. He's off the court, he's like this quiet, kind of unassuming, he's very friendly, he's very kind, very polite. The villain persona, that's his persona, right? It's the mantle that he puts on when he's on the actual court. But look, before we wrap this thing up, I got to say, you talked about, KPJ cooking him a couple times. Look, I got to be completely honest here, man. First off, I was terrified that this was going to be a trap game where it was like, oh man, here comes a KPJ 50-piece against the Rockets. I did not want to see that happen and go 0-3 on this West Coast road trip. So I'm happy that did not happen. The Rockets limited him just 19 points, 8 of 18 shooting. But on top of that, every single time like Jalen had the ball or Amen had the ball, I was like, cook him. Like I was like,
I feel like him and Jalen kind of had a little. Him and Jalen had a kind of little back and forth going. Every time they seen each other, they were kind of licking their chops, going after each other, especially in the first half. Dog, it was kind of fun to see, man. But I definitely had that same feeling. I was like, man, please don't let KPJ light us up with his best game of the year.
Man, I was really on that inbound with the 4.5 seconds where Jalen bombed the 3, the hardest shot of the game for him. He hit that 3 over. I want to say it was over
Bones, I believe.
It was Bones, but KPJ was right there for the switch, and I was thinking, oh, give me that switch, and give me that 3. He did have the one where he hesitated for a second on the perimeter, and like he slowed it for like 1 second, and then he just exploded, got right around KPJ. Yeah, and then when, it wasn't quite like a smitty, but it was like kind of close to it, and then got right to the cup, and KPJ was left in the dust. So there were a bunch of plays like that from Jalen, a bunch from Amen. Look, it was a good win. We want to know your favorite part from this Rockets dub against the Clippers. Let us know in the YouTube comments. Madison, let everybody know where they can track you down at.
You can find me on Twitter at MadmanLeaks. Come talk Rockets basketball and NBA draft.
That's going to do it for another edition of Locked On Rockets. As always, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, the best way you can help us grow our show is to listen every single day on a podcast platform of your choosing. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Drop a comment while you're there. Subscribe to the daily Locked On Rockets newsletter. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And we look forward to having you back right here at Locked On Rockets, your daily podcast home for everything Houston Rockets basketball.